The most famous footage from the Phoenix Lights may have a perfectly ordinary explanation: military flares. But that footage came later. Hours earlier, people across Arizona had already reported something else moving over them. Something enormous, something silent, something they struggled to describe as anything except a craft. On March 13th, 1997, hail bop was bright in the Arizona sky. People were already outside looking up. Hours before the famous footage, reports began to trace a route south through the state. Lights moving together, 5 in some accounts, 7 in others, a V, a triangle, a boomerang. The descriptions did not match perfectly, but certain details kept returning: slow movement, extraordinary apparent scale, and almost no sound. One couple said they stopped their car to watch 7 lights pass overhead. At first, the husband thought they were planes, flying in formation. Then his wife looked between them. She said the stars were disappearing. To her, the lights were not separate points. They marked the edge of one massive, dark shape. In 1997, the Lay family described what happened as the object crossed above them.
It just passed over absolutely silently, without a sound. There wasn't even a whooshing sound from any noise whatsoever. And you could see the shape of it as it went across the stars.
That detail matters. The Lays were describing a dark body moving across the stars, not merely a pattern of lights. Other witnesses pushed the description further. In a later documentary interview, David Parker described driving along the unfinished I-60 shortly after 8 o'clock. He said a vast boomerang-shaped object approached so low that it seemed almost level with him. Phoenix's city glow, he said, revealed part of its underside. Along its edge were orange lights that looked like liquid fire. No heat, no smell, no engine noise. Just something huge, drifting over the road. Another witness, Sue Watson, said her children called her outside as an object appeared near Camelback Mountain. She described 7 amber lights, a solid boomerang shape, and a passage so slow that her family watched it for several minutes. The accounts are not identical. They came from different people, in different places, looking from different angles. What matters is the convergence: structure, immense scale, slow movement, and silence. The contemporary record contains another blunt description.
It was there. It was a structure. It was going 35 miles an hour. It was huge. It didn't make a sound. And you tell me what can do that.
That is not proof of where the object came from. It is evidence of something observed across Arizona that has never been satisfactorily identified. A real UAP event. Unidentified does not mean imaginary. Later that night, the story changed. Another display appeared over Phoenix, and this time, cameras were waiting. Military flares could explain those later lights. Illumination flares, descending at great distance, can appear almost stationary, then vanish one by one behind the Sierra Estrella Mountains. They could not explain what witnesses had seen earlier. Months after the sightings, Arizona's governor turns the mystery into a punchline. At a press conference, Fife Symington produced an aide in an alien costume. The witnesses became the joke. What the public did not know was that Symington had witnessed the event himself. Years later, the former Air Force officer and pilot was asked directly what he saw.
What did you see?
Well, I saw a huge craft just kind of come right over Squaw Peak. That was, it was just breathtaking. And
the man who made the witnesses the punchline was one of them. But once the footage became the public face of the case, the second event swallowed the first. There is no public evidence that the confusion was engineered. But if the flares were intended to draw attention away from the earlier event, the result could hardly have been more effective. They did not explain the Phoenix craft. They replaced it. The Phoenix Lights became a legend because two events were fused together. The later event supplied the iconic image. The earlier event supplied the witnesses, the scale, the silence, and the mystery that still refuses to go away. The footage may show flares. The witnesses described a craft. And the real question is still, what crossed Arizona before the flares appeared?